Welcome to Top List 6789. Throughout history, humanity has witnessed the rise of individuals whose names became synonymous with terror, brutality, and crime. Today, we'll uncover the stories of the 10 most dangerous criminals of all time. These figures have committed heinous acts that left indelible marks on society, spreading fear and suffering. Ranked from 10 to 1, each story is more chilling than the last. Are you ready to dive into the dark side of history? Let's begin. 10. Aileen Wuornos, the female serial killer. Aileen Wuornos, often called America's first female serial killer, committed a string of murders that shocked the nation. Born in 1956 in Rochester, Michigan, Wuornos endured a tragic childhood marred by abuse, abandonment, and homelessness. At a young age, she turned to prostitution as a means of survival. Between 1989 and 1990, Wuornos killed 7 men in Florida, claiming they had attempted to sexually assault her while she was working as a prostitute. However, her method of killing, shooting her victims point-blank, raised questions about whether these were truly acts of self-defense. Wuornos was eventually arrested in 1991 after being tracked through stolen belongings from one of her victims. Her case attracted significant media attention and inspired the Oscar-winning film Monster. Wuornos was executed in 2002, leaving behind a chilling legacy as one of the few female serial killers in history. 9. John Wayne Gacy, the Killer Clown. John Wayne Gacy, born in 1942 in Chicago, Illinois, is one of the most notorious serial killers in American history. Gacy appeared as a respected community figure, working as a contractor and often performing as Pogo the Clown at local charity events and children's parties. However, this friendly facade masked the horrors lurking beneath. From 1972 to 1978, Gacy lured at least 33 young men and boys to his home under various pretenses, such as offering them jobs or socializing. Once inside, Gacy restrained, assaulted, and eventually killed his victims, often by strangulation. Most of their bodies were buried in the crawl space beneath his suburban home, turning it into a grotesque graveyard. His crimes came to light when a teenager, Robert Piest, went missing after being last seen with Gacy. Police discovered the unimaginable horror hidden under his house, leading to Gacy's arrest and eventual execution in 1994. To this day, the Killer Clown remains a symbol of unthinkable evil. 8. Ivan the Terrible, the ruthless Tsar of Russia. Ivan IV Vasilyevich, better known as Ivan the Terrible, was the first Tsar of Russia and ruled from 1547 to 1584. Born in 1530, Ivan endured a childhood filled with violence, neglect, and court intrigue after his father's death. This early trauma shaped him into a ruler consumed by paranoia, cruelty, and an insatiable thirst for power. Ivan created the Oprichnina, a secret police force that carried out purges of anyone suspected of treason or disloyalty. One of his most infamous acts was the massacre of Novgorod, where thousands of men, women, and children were brutally killed due to Ivan's suspicion that the city was conspiring against him. His cruelty extended to his family as well. During a violent outburst, Ivan struck and killed his own son, a tragedy that haunted him for the rest of his life. Despite his role in expanding Russian territory, Ivan's reign is remembered for its ruthless violence and terror, leaving an enduring legacy of fear. 7. Charles Manson, the cult leader of chaos. Charles Manson, born in 1934, was the mastermind behind the infamous Manson family cult, a group responsible for a series of gruesome murders in California during the late 1960s. Manson's troubled upbringing and time in juvenile detention led to his deep mistrust of society. Using his manipulative charisma, he convinced disillusioned young followers to join his cult and commit unspeakable acts. In August 1969, Manson orchestrated the brutal murders of actress Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant, and 4 others in her Los Angeles home. The following night, the cult committed another series of murders, terrorizing the city. Manson believed he was sparking a race war, which he called Helter Skelter, inspired by his twisted interpretation of a Beatles song. Although Manson never directly killed anyone, his ability to manipulate others into committing atrocities cemented his place as one of history's most disturbing criminals. Manson died in prison in 2017, but his legacy remains one of chaos and horror. 6. Adolf Eichmann, the architect of the Holocaust. Adolf Eichmann, born in Germany in 1906, was one of the chief architects of the Holocaust, orchestrating the systematic genocide of millions of Jews during World War II. As a high-ranking Nazi official, Eichmann played a key role in organizing the transportation of Jewish prisoners to concentration camps, where they faced unimaginable suffering and death. After the fall of Nazi Germany, Eichmann escaped to Argentina, where he lived under a false identity for years. In 1960, Israeli intelligence agents tracked him down and captured him in a daring covert operation. Eichmann's trial in 1961 revealed the horrific extent of his actions and brought global attention to the atrocities of the Holocaust. His defense, that he was merely following orders, became a chilling reminder of how bureaucratic obedience can lead to unimaginable evil. Eichmann was executed in 1962, and his name remains synonymous with war crimes and genocide. 5. Al Capone, the king of organized crime. Al Capone, born in Brooklyn in 1899, rose to infamy as the leader of Chicago's criminal underworld during America's Prohibition era. Capone built a massive empire based on bootlegging, gambling, and extortion, earning millions of dollars in the process. His reign of terror included countless murders, with one of the most infamous being the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929, where Capone's men gunned down 7 members of a rival gang. Despite his vast criminal enterprise, Capone was brought down not by his violent crimes but by tax evasion charges. Convicted in 1931, he served time in Alcatraz before his health deteriorated due to syphilis. Capone died in 1947, but his name remains synonymous with organized crime and mob rule. 4. Ted Bundy, the charming but deadly killer. Ted Bundy, born in 1946, was a charismatic and intelligent individual whose charm masked his true nature as one of the most notorious serial killers in history. Bundy preyed on young women across multiple states during the 1970s, luring his victims by pretending to be injured or in need of help. Once he gained their trust, Bundy would kidnap, assault, and kill them, often returning to the crime scenes to revisit his victims' bodies. He confessed to killing over 30 women, though the actual number is believed to be much higher. Bundy's cunning nature allowed him to escape from custody twice, sparking nationwide manhunts before his eventual capture. He was executed in 1989, leaving behind a chilling reminder of the dangers of appearances. 3. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the untouchable drug lord. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, born in 1957, led the Sinaloa cartel, one of the world's most powerful and violent drug organizations. Known for his brutal tactics and ingenious escapes, El Chapo oversaw the trafficking of vast quantities of drugs into the United States. His empire was built on fear, corruption, and violence, with rival cartels and innocent civilians often caught in the crossfire. El Chapo's most famous prison escape involved a mile-long tunnel dug beneath his cell, showcasing his audacity and resources. He was recaptured in 2016, extradited to the U.S., and sentenced to life imprisonment. 2. Pablo Escobar, the cocaine king of Colombia. Pablo Escobar, born in 1949 in Colombia, was the leader of the infamous Medellin cartel, controlling 80% of the world's cocaine supply at the height of his power. Escobar amassed a fortune worth billions by flooding global markets with drugs, but his reign of terror came at a devastating cost. He orchestrated bombings, assassinations, and massacres that claimed thousands of lives, including the bombing of Avianca Flight 203 in 1989, killing 110 innocent people. While Escobar was seen by some as a Robin Hood figure for funding housing projects and schools for the poor, his brutal tactics included bribery, corruption, and eliminating anyone who opposed him. His power extended so far that he built La Catedral, a prison he controlled himself. After escaping in 1992, Escobar spent over a year on the run before being tracked down and killed by Colombian authorities in 1993. His death ended an era of bloodshed but left scars on Colombia that remain to this day. 1. Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of 9/11. Osama bin Laden, born in 1957 in Saudi Arabia, was the founder of Al-Qaeda, responsible for the September 11, 2001, terrorist attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people. Under his leadership, Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 planes, striking the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, while a 4th plane crashed in Pennsylvania. This unprecedented attack reshaped global security and triggered a worldwide war on terror. Bin Laden rose to prominence during the Soviet-Afghan War, where he funded and supported Mujahideen fighters. Disillusioned by Western influence in the Middle East, he declared jihad against the United States, establishing a terror network that operated globally. Despite being the most wanted man on earth, bin Laden evaded capture for nearly a decade. On May 2, 2011, U.S. Navy SEALs located and killed bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan, during a covert mission known as Operation Neptune Spear. His death marked a major victory in the fight against terrorism, but his extremist ideology continues to inspire splinter groups, leaving a legacy of violence and fear that persists worldwide. So, which of these criminals shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Top List 6789 for more fascinating stories like this one. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.